Living Space by Isaac Asimov. Having mastered probability lanes, man found an indefinite number of Earths and everyone could have a planet all to himself. Earth proper had been plagued by a rising overpopulation as its current population was over 1 trillion. The Housing Bureau was set up for that very purpose. Having discovered infinite number of Earths, each existing in its own parallel universe, if the chance of life arising on any one of them is about 50%, then half of the time a random choice of a parallel universe will lead to a dead Earth. In order to make a dead planet habitable for a single household, all it took was to create a force field, import oxygen, cultivate the soil, and add hydroponics works. Planet ownership was a powerful inducement. There was this slogan, "What man so poor as not to have an empire larger than Genghis Khan?" There were two co-workers at a particular sector of the Housing Bureau. One of them was Bill Ching, who was short and proud of his Mongolian ancestry. He's always believed that probability patterns had solved every last one of humanity's problems, unlike his co-worker, Alex Mishinov, who had reservations on the Bureau's core policy. Mishinov had originally majored in archaeology and had studied a lot of antiquarian subjects. He had long tried to voice out his mind, but he couldn't because he felt it was beyond his pay grade and his co-worker would shrug him off as an obstructionist who read too many ancient history books. One day, Clarence Rimbaud, one of the countless individuals who had the privilege of owning a planet all to himself, came to them and complained that his Earth was inhabited. He was an accountant, skilled in handling very advanced computer models. It all started when he heard that there were rumblings and noises disturbing the silence of his domain. He thought it was caused by some sort of volcano eruption, but the fact that it became a routine, each lasting all day long, convinced him otherwise. Rimbaud did the most logical things. He took his wife and children to his wife's mother and a day off to reach one of the sectors of the Housing Bureau where Ching and Mishinov were in. He was toweringly angry as he had taken the better part of his 2 days to reach there. Noises like that was probably some kind of natural phenomenon. What kind of natural phenomenon? I want an investigation. I'm not paying rent on a planet to share it. How long have you lived on your planet? 15.5 years. Has there been any evidence of life? There is now. I can assure you that everything is all right. Do you have any idea how careful we select our probability patterns? I am an accountant. I have a pretty good idea. Then surely you know that computers cannot fail us. They never picked a probability that had been picked before, and besides, your planet definitely has a carbon dioxide atmosphere. I understand it very well, and I'm not here for lectures. I want an investigation right now. Both Ching and Mishinov were on their way to the twisting point. They went to Rimbaud's probability pattern, while Rimbaud stayed at the temporary quarters on Earth proper for 2 to 3 weeks. Ching still considered Rimbaud to be the type that starts rumors. There was no way a carbon dioxide planet like Rimbaud's could be inhabited. Mishinov, however, felt that there was a possibility that the planet and animal life could develop and live on carbon dioxide. After all, indefinite number of worlds means anything can happen. Ching said that the chances of that happening was 1 in a duodecillion. While Ching was busy admiring Rimbaud's nice house and good taste, Mishinov, looking up at the glass roof, murmured, "The sun looked like the sun of 1 trillion other Earths. There could be plant life just starting out. The carbon dioxide could just be starting to drop. Computers might never know. Still, it will take 1 million years for animal life to begin. It doesn't have to follow that pattern. You brood. Someday you're going to tell me what's bothering you instead of just hinting. Then we can straighten you out." Then they heard a distant rumble. They placed the seismograph at the center of the room. Mishnov saw that the surface waves were very superficial, meaning that the source wasn't underground. "We will have to set the seismograph at another point and get a fix on the focus of the disturbance. I'll go out. You stay here." "No, I'll go out." Mishnov felt terrified, but he had no choice. If this were it, he would be prepared. Sending out an unsuspecting Ching would be disastrous. He trembled as he got into his oxygen suit and got out into the desolate surface of the presumably lifeless Earth. Soon, Mishinov saw some construction going on and informed Ching. There was no mistake. Ground was being leveled. Machinery at work. Rocks were being blasted out. This can't be possible. The computers can never make such a mistake. I'm coming out. No, just keep radio contact. Be ready to leave for Earth proper if I gave the word. What? Missionov slipped down upon the other side of the rock. The man came out to greet him. He was wearing a gas-tight suit that was different from what Missionov was wearing, but intended for the same purpose of leading oxygen to the lungs. The stranger started to speak in German, asking for Missionov's identity and his business there. Missionov had studied German for 2 years in the days he expected to be an archaeologist. Unfortunately, the man's pronunciation was nothing what Mishnov had been taught. Thus, this led to a rather confusing and embarrassing conversation between them, often making the man convinced that Mishnov was insane. In the end, they managed to reach an understanding. The man's name was George Wallenby, and he was from a parallel Earth where Nazi Germany won the war and conquered the entire planet. The Germans admitted that Mishnov's world had priority over Rimbrow's Earth and left the planet peacefully. Berg, the sector's bureau head, came to explain to Rimbrow that the noise was purely geological, caused by a constant wind blowing a delicately balanced rock. Berg claimed that the bureau already had the rock removed and Rimbrow and his family would be compensated. After the Rimbrow affair had been resolved for now, he went to have a private meeting with Mishinov. He acknowledged that there were many worlds that had decided to solve the problem of unlimited population growth by expanding into the worlds of probability. There are probably many dead Earths with multiple occupants, but in most cases the settlements were too far apart to affect one another until now. Berg thought that Mishnov must have foreseen such a thing, as his co-worker Ching had informed him that Mishnov often hinted in the past about some serious danger involving their probability setup. Mishnov confessed that the meeting the Germans wasn't something he had foreseen. Then he gathered the courage he had been suppressing all this long and said, "We all know that there's no life on the solar system except the life on Earth, and the computation has it that the probability of developing any interstellar travel was so low as to be infinitesimal." What are you getting at? But there must be such probability pattern where life does exist in the solar system, or the interstellar drives are developed by other dwellers in other star systems. In one of the probabilities, Earth may be visited by these intelligent beings. If it were a probability pattern in which Earth is uninhabited and then they set up some sort of base, they may find one of our dwelling spaces. Why ours? Why not the Germans? Because we are the ones who assigned each household to the planet. The German Earth doesn't. That increases our chances of encounter by 1,000,000,000 to 1. These extraterrestrial beings will eventually investigate one of our dwelling places and find the route to Earth proper. By then, how can we handle species that are far complex and intelligent than us? Nonsense! This is ridiculous! Suddenly, the buzz sounded. It was Ching. Sorry to interrupt, but there's a man there I don't know what to do with. He complained that his home was surrounded and there were things staring through his windows. Things? Purple things with big red veins, 3 eyes, and some sort of tentacles. At this instant, Berg and Mishnov were staring at each other in sick horror.
Hey, remember to sign up for my website and get some free reviews.